Greetings. I'm Dina Mashiani, a librarian at the South Campus, and today I'll be engaging and providing tips on how to manage and enhance your online academic identity and visibility as a researcher. Whatever we do online leaves traces, either positive or negative. It is therefore imperative for us to always engage positively online. There's no doubt that in this day and age, we need a society that is equipped with relevant digital skills, as there's a lot that we need to be familiar with and cautious of. And awareness of online information ethics is also crucial. Privacy issues are a considerable concern as traces of our confidential or personal information can be left behind time and time again as we engage or navigate the digital landscape. However, we also need to look at the bigger picture and make the best of what ICT has to offer, especially in enhancing the research practices. Managing an online identity or presence takes more than just creating a profile on a particular platform. Sarah Gaudier and Laura Zenowitz created a tool in 2014 with steps or phases that a researcher can follow to manage an online presence effectively. Researchers need to reflect on their current statuses, which is the initial step of this particular tool. If someone Googles you now, what would they find? Are you visible as a researcher? What impact are you making? Are you closing the knowledge gap? Those are just some of the questions that you need to ask yourself. The next step on this toolkit is creating a profile or an academic profile that would put you on the map. There are various online tools, platforms, and resources for researchers that are available for free. You don't need to pay anything. You just need to know which ones are available out there that are suitable or that you're comfortable with. The third step of phase focuses on making your research outputs available because it takes a lot of effort and dedication to get a work published. And you can't just let that go in vain because as researchers you go through a cumbersome peer review process, and at the end of the day you want your work to reach a larger audience. You want your hard work to be recognized. There are various ways in which you can achieve both the first and the second phase of this toolkit. There are various benefits that are associated with having a positive online presence as a researcher. The first one relates to showcasing your research outputs. As noted, you spend quite a lot of time and dedication getting your work published, and therefore you want your work to be visible. You want people to read your work. You want people to cite your work. And another benefit of having a positive online presence as a researcher is that you are able to build collaborations. As people get to see your work, they will also be able to engage with you, to network with you, and in that manner, you can build collaborations for future research projects. And it also helps in enhancing your research output metrics, both the traditional metrics. Those are the citation impact, the citations. As you have once you have a positive or an effective online presence, people would be able to access more of your work, your research outputs, and with that, they will also be able to cite your work as well. And for alternative metrics or altmetrics, when sharing on social academic social networking sites or platforms, people would be able to even share your works further as well. They would be able to engage with your work. They'd be able to recommend to download your work and so forth. So those are some of the metrics that you need to be aware of that can help you um, to enhance your impact as a researcher. And you can also be invited as a keynote speaker. You can be invited at conferences, workshops, or webinars to be a keynote speaker or a prominent speaker as well. If you have a positive online presence, if people are able to when someone Googles you, if they're able to view your profile, they can see all your research outputs. They can see your interest, your research interests as well. Then they're able to engage with you further. You can also get job offers from creating online profiles, and you can also create or develop a research network where you can be a peer supporter and you can mentor other people, because there might be other upcoming scholars or researchers that might be looking up to you. And if they're able to see your work, if they're able to see your academic profile online, then that enhances the chances of having such people reaching out and engaging with you further with regards to um, your outputs or your research interests as well. And there are various ways in which you can do this to enhance your academic presence or visibility as a researcher. The first thing is by publishing in reputable journals. We are now living in an era where researchers are perishing in the hands of predatory publishers. There's the mantra of publish or perish has seen most researchers perishing even though they are publishing. The only difference is that the only challenge is that they are publishing in predatory journals. And these predatory journals, some of them, most of them, the main aim for them is to make money, and they prioritize quantity over quality. So as a researcher, strive to always publish in reputable journals. That also says something about you as a researcher. If you're publishing in reputable journals, that says a lot about you, because work that has been published in a reputable publications, they go through various processes. They are reviewed by people who are experts. They are criticized by people who are experts in particular disciplines. So it's advisable that you always publish in reputable journals. And the university is providing various avenues that can assist you with this. There's for example the list, the DHET list of accredited journals that you can access to get all the reputable journals. You can also make use of the Directory of Open Access journals as well. And there are also online journal matching platforms or tools that are available. Some of them are offered by publishers, others are offered by indexes such as Web of Science and Scorepass. So from these online journal matching platforms, you are able to match your manuscript with relevant journal. So basically, once you log on to a particular online journal matching platform, you'd be able to enter your abstract, your manuscript abstract, along with the keywords, and you will then get results of all the relevant journals related to your abstract. Another way on which you can build your academic presence, online academic presence and visibility, is by collaborating with researchers both in your institution or even externally. You can even collaborate internationally as well. That helps to build your presence as a researcher. And you can also build your academic online presence by publishing on an open access model. By publishing on open access journals or books, you enhance your chances of visibility, because a lot of people would be able to read your work, or a lot of people would be able to access your work without any restrictions or limitations. And you can also make use of social media. Gone are those days where social media was perceived as a platform that was used for leisure or socialization purposes. Social media is now used for teaching and learning, for academic purposes. This is where you can reach a larger audience without any time or location barriers. And the last step is by using or archiving your publication, or sharing your publication in open access repositories. We have various types of open access repositories that are providing access to various types of content. We have data repositories, we have repositories that you can use to share your publications, especially those that are available or published in open access publications, either open access books or open access journals. I'd just like to share with you a video from the University of Queensland Library, where various professionals are sharing their views on having an online academic presence as a researcher. Enjoy. There is certainly no doubt from that, from what we've heard from those various professionals with regards to the benefits of having an online academic presence, as it has a lot of benefits, and it can also assist not only you as a researcher, but other researchers as well, because they can use your profile as a as a benchmarking tool, so that they can also develop their own profiles as well. So as far as reputable publishing is concerned, as one of the methods on how to enhance your academic presence or visibility as a researcher, there are various journal indexes, as alluded earlier on. You can make use of the DHET list, journal list. You can make use of the Director of Open Access Journals, and you can also, it's also advisable to also target journals that are indexed on Web of Science and Scorepass, because when it comes to ratings, when you're applying for ratings as a researcher or applying for grants, they might want your impact, your metrics, your impact as a researcher from three platforms. The first one being Scorepass, followed by Web of Science and also Google Scholar. So by virtue of publishing on Web of Science and Scorepass, you would then be able to automatically create an author profile that you can use to as a platform where you can get your citation, your metrics from. So yeah, that's just one of the ways on how a researcher can enhance their visibility by publishing in reputable journals. Another way is open access publishing. As you can see here, there are various other than the what I've alluded earlier on in terms of access. Your works can be cited more than journals that are not available on an open access model. And your work would be able to be downloaded more than before if you publish in open access journals, and you also increase or enhance your chances of engaging, or your mentions, your metrics as a researcher, especially when you are sharing your work, your open access publications on academic social networking sites. They will get exposure, and people would be able to recommend your work. They'll be able to share, to engage more with your work. And with regards to open access repository, institutionally, currently we have Figshare, which is a data um, repository, and we also have Kopsi Scholar that you can use as an archiving tool if you have published on open access journals. And another method that you can use or apply to enhance your online identity as a researcher is by creating researcher profiles. There are various researcher profiles that you can create. You can create an OC ID. You can basically use an OC ID as a branding tool as well, your academic branding tool as a researcher. And what's nice about OC ID is that you are able to integrate it with other researcher profiles. For instance, you are able to integrate your Scorepass profile with your OC ID profile. This helps in a sense that all your publications from Scorepass, they will automatically be added onto your OC ID profile. So you won't have to add them manually. By virtue of integrating these two accounts together, they would then be added onto your OC ID profile automatically. And what's nice about OC ID profile is that you can also embed your OC ID number on your email signature. You can embed it on various platforms as well. You can even embed it on your social networking pages as well. So you can embed all these researcher profiles there as well, as a measure of enhancing their visibility as well. And with regards to academic social networking sites, there are various platforms, academic social networking sites that are available to you. You can also create an institutional CV. There is a dedicated LibGuide in the library with information on how to create an institutional CV that you can use for academic exposure and visibility. This is just an example of how you can use an OC ID profile as an academic branding tool. As you can see there, I have embedded my OC ID number on my email signature. So this basically means that anyone that I'm sending an email to, if they're interested, they can just click on that link and it will then instantly take them to my OC ID profile. And we are now living in an era where social media influencers, where we have social media influencers on various platforms such as Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, who have made a name for themselves online. And what is stopping you as a researcher to do the same, to ensure that you brand yourself as a researcher by using various tools and resources? And what's nice about OC ID or ORCID is that you can also match, as I've noted earlier, you can match various platforms. You can match your Scorepass profile with your OC ID profile. You can also match your OC ID profile with your Figshare profile. So any content that you add on Figshare, once you have matched these two accounts together, they'll also be automatically added onto your OC ID profile. So you don't have to add them manually. It helps you to manage your profiles simultaneously. So for now, I will quickly demonstrate on how an integrated OC ID profile looks like. So this is an interface of or my OC ID profile. So once you click on that link that I have embedded on my email signature, you're going to land on this page. So this is a way that you can use as a researcher to sell yourself, to enhance the visibility of your research outputs. And as you can see there on the left hand side, it also shows other profiles that I have integrated with my OC ID. As I've noted earlier on, that you are able to integrate your Scorepass author profile with your Scorepass, with your OC ID profile. So if you scroll down, then people will also be able to see your research outputs as well. From here, I can also navigate. I can navigate to my Scorepass profile directly from the OC ID profile. So if someone needs to see your impact, your H index, let's say someone is interested in analyzing your metrics as a researcher, your citation impact, your H index, they're able to get your Scorepass author profile directly from OC ID if you have meshed the two profiles together. So this is how to manage your profiles simultaneously, because as I've meshed my OC ID with Scorepass, should I publish more articles on journals that are indexed on Scorepass, I won't have to edit my OC ID profile. I won't have to add those publications from Scorepass manually. They will be added here automatically. So that's just one way. This is basically the benefits of integrating your profiles together. Social media has revitalized the research landscape to offer various benefits, which were previously impossible or time consuming to achieve. With a positive social media presence, a researcher is able to develop a repeatable online persona. A researcher is also able to embed full text publications on these platforms in alignment with the archiving policies of journals. So you can't just populate your outputs on various platforms, as you might infringe on the archiving policies of journals. So you need to be aware of various archiving policies of various journals, and you may find this information or archiving policy information of various journals from platforms such as Shepa Romeo. And I will demonstrate on how to use Shepa Romeo to find the archiving policies later on. For instance, making use of ResearchGate and academia.edu are now used as platforms for information searching, as researchers have now added their research outputs on the platforms. So this actually enhances information access. It bridges, the barriers that we used to encounter previously with accessing information. And as a researcher, you may also engage with scholars in your field. You may follow those scholars in your field of expertise, where you can also collaborate on various projects making use of academic social networking sites. You would be able to get both traditional and alternative metrics for your papers, such as the citations, the downloads, and also how many times the documents have been shared by other scholars or readers. And when sharing on these platforms such as Twitter and Facebook, you would also be able to tag individuals sharing the same interests, which may enhance the engagements and impact of your work. So as earlier indicated, I will then quickly demonstrate on Shepa Romeo just to show you the interface, what the interface looks like, and also how to search for various journal archiving policies from Shepa Romeo. This is what the interface looks like on Shepa Romeo. You are able to search for the archiving policies of journals using the journal title or the ISS number. Okay. This is one of the journals published by Emerald. And once you have published on an open access pathway, these are various policies or regulations in terms of sharing or archiving your publications, your open access publications. So for a published version of a paper, you are able to share there on the papers would be available on the journal website, or any website you'd be able to share there. And for accepted versions, you'll be able to share on institutional repositories. So you are able to share on platforms such as Figshare, for instance, because it's an open access repository, institutional repository, or you can search, or you can share even on Gofsi Scholar. The same applies to the submitted versions of open access publications. You can also share on academic social networking sites. You can share on ResearchGate. You can share on LinkedIn, academia.edu, other social media networking sites such as Facebook and Twitter and so forth. So this is just to be on the safe side. Just consider the archiving policies of publishers before. If you're not sure, just you may use you may make use of Sheparomia for archiving policies of various publishers. And do not be like this researcher begging for your papers to be cited. As noted earlier, there are various ways on enhancing your visibility as a researcher. Take a step in ensuring that your knowledge makes an impact, because research or publishing can be a cumbersome process. It's time consuming. It's a process where sometimes you might even feel like crying due to the peer review process. So it's very important that you make use of various tools and resources that can enhance your visibility and showcasing your work out there to a larger audience, as opposed to only having your work in a particular journal. You have various of, even though you might not have published in an open access journal or book, you can just share the bibliographic details, or even an abstract of your work, just to so that you can raise visibility. Those who can access those publications would be able to do that through their institutional access, or institutions that they are affiliated with, which who might be subscribed to those journals. So it doesn't have to be a tedious process. It's quite, once you start, you would be able to enjoy the benefits of having all these online profiles, so that you can build your network, your academic network, your academic circle. You can build collaborations with others in your field of expertise. With that, these are just some of the references that I used. These are my contact details. Thank you very much.